The Bitcoin Group, the American original. For over the last 10 seconds, the sharpest Satoshis, the best Bitcoins, the hardest cryptocurrency talk. We'd like to welcome our panelists Dan Eve, the Crypto Raptor, Josh Kagala from Voltoro,
Howdy ho, folks.
Theo Goodman from Proof of Work Media,
Evening, everyone.
Ben Hannibus from Wales.
Shemai.
And I'm Thomas Hunt from the World Crypto Network. Moving on to issue 1. Some kind of ad. Issue 1. Julian Assange arrested. After more than 7 years seeking asylum in the Ecuadorian embassy in London, Ecuador has had enough. Reports of misuse of the country's internet service, failure to clean up after his cats, and general exhaustion with the situation led Ecuador to allow in the police and turn Assange over to the British authorities. Assange is being charged with hacking a computer in the United States, aka inspiring Chelsea Manning to steal more information from the US Army, which some say is treason and others say is journalism. The British government is currently struggling with the decision to extradite him to the US. Alleged rape charges in Sweden have been dropped. Dan Eve, should Britain extradite Assange to the US? Bonus issue, IMF approves $4.2 billion loan for Ecuador. Dan Eve.
Well, they definitely shouldn't extradite him, and that's crazy that he was just kind of dragged out of there like that. He looked like what's the dude? Castaway, like after Tom Hanks was like, and it's been 7 years or something like that, 7-8 years for him in there, so it's an insane amount of time. And obviously he looked very disheveled. It sounds like he was being a bit awkward, but you don't turn him over to the authorities and then the same day the IMF strikes this massive deal with Ecuador. That's just fucking, pardon me, that's just nuts. It's crazy. And I think that the most annoying thing about it as well is that I think isn't it Lagarde that was convicted of some sort of where is it? I'll get it. I had it up here. So basically, she was. That's it. There was negligence. So she had a negligence trial, and she was guilty, but there was no penalty on it. And this person who's being negligent on a huge amount of money, and she's making decisions and crazy sort of deals like that. By the sounds of it, it's just nuts.
His only friend was a volleyball named Wilson and Pamela Anderson. Well, that's not so bad. Joshua Skagala.
Man, so Julian Assange and I guess WikiLeaks in general is now officially a unicorn company, selling itself out with a private deal that it gets nothing for $4.2 billion. That's it's incredible that it's so blatant. Also, I mean, it's just nuts. And he did look absolutely crazy, and it's unfortunate because the public opinion is so important, and people, he always had a very dignified look to him, and that's also sad, but the whole situation is really sad. We have other media outlets now who have implemented mainstream media outlets that have implemented the exact same anonymous encrypted Dropbox technology that kind of WikiLeaks, supplied. And if someone doesn't want you to publish something, then that's journalism. If someone wants you to publish something, that's propaganda. And so to have Julian Assange go down like this is a really sad day, and we should all get riled up about this.
Josh is right. $4.2 billion is a quad unicorn. That's 4 Ubers or maybe even 4 Lyfts. My own personal opinion on Assange, he started out really good, kind of publishing everything he got, just dumping it out there. It started to change in the last couple of years. He was breaking the files up into sections, seemed to be targeting them to cause the most pain to a political candidate on the other side. I'm not so sure that he's the same WikiLeaks he's always been. But that's my little opinion on that. Theo Goodman.
Well, everyone has a different opinion depending on their own political viewpoint about what gets released. That happens with journalism and other information on the internet. So everyone's going to have their own opinion about what gets released depending on their own viewpoint, what kind of narrative they wish would be out there. But the truth is the truth. And this sets a really bad precedent for any journalism in the entire world right now. So basically, all we can kind of hope for, if you want to support Julian Assange, is that UK does not extradite him because the United States has the death penalty, and UK doesn't extradite him for whatever reasons. Maybe we can hope Brexit somehow, makes everything delayed. I have no idea why, but maybe it's just they're just too busy. Who knows? And besides that, and some miracle coming where Trump gives him a pardon or something, there's not really a lot left. I think the best bet is just the whole thing with the death penalty. The worst part is, even with that, it still sets a really bad precedent right now for anyone doing any kind of journalism. So, more than ever, we've got to up our skills in, encryption, doing anything decentralized. All of that stuff is becoming way more relevant the more things like this happen. So that's about it. I mean, I'm pretty upsetting. Yeah, that's it.
Theo's got a good point on the death penalty. The British government, as a government against the death penalty, should not extradite Assange because of that reasons. But you watch, they're going to weasel out of it. They're going to find a way around it. And treason is a capital crime in the U.S. If he is convicted, death penalty is a possibility. The new Supreme Court has horrifically declared that you do not have the right to a non-cruel and unusual death, putting firing squad and other previous barbaric deaths back on the field. We'll have to see how it goes. Ben Hannibus.
So obviously it's very upsetting, the Julian Assange being treated in such a way, and I understand he's quite a difficult character. He's probably quite a difficult guy to have about in your embassy while he's hacking the planet or whatever, and managing WikiLeaks. So to put everyone's mind at rest, so maybe somewhat, Lenin Moreno, the Ecuadorian president, said that although they'd reached their limit on Julian Assange's behaviour, so they had to give him over to the British authorities. They had confirmed in writing from the British government that Julian would not be extradited to a country where he'd face torture or the death penalty. So, I mean, that's some comfort, but that doesn't mean they're going to not extradite him to sort of a country where they haven't got the death penalty, and then they'll then extradite him to the US. Now,
There's a complexity here with Australia, because he's an Australian national. He could be sent back to Australia. Australia could give him over to the US, freeing
Australia are pussies.
They issued a new passport for Julian shortly before all this stuff which has happened. But yeah, no, it's horrendous. I know a lot of people sort of fell out with Julian when they thought that he was being political with the way in which he released his cables. But if you look at like collateral damage, like that was very much released in a certain way to have as much as an impact as possible. And I think that if a lot of us were in the same position, where in this embassy and we've got kind of two presidential candidates, one of them is just going to really go out of their way to try and assassinate, get rid of you, and then the other one doesn't really care and may even give you some sort of pardon, that it's a very tempting thing to release information in a way which is going to work in your favor, which was wrong, and he should have had more neutrality for a platform like WikiLeaks. But I think it's fairly understandable that he would do that. The kickback, though, from the Bitcoin community, I noticed a lot of people really don't like Julian Assange for this reason, because they think that he had some sort of impact on their presidential election. And I looked on Reddit, and there was people even asking why the article had been added to our Bitcoin. And for me, Julian Assange, I mean, he's a cypherpunk who's an early Bitcoin advocate. He fought in the crypto wars, as in cryptography, not cryptocurrency. He's one of the reasons that we have public key cryptography for normal people, and it's accessible for all of us. And he was in this within our community well before there was a value added to it. So I have an ultimate respect for anyone who was there pre-Bitcoin. I don't know whether I would be if there weren't a value attached to this community. So yeah, he deserves our respect. He deserves our support. Yes, he may have made some mistakes releasing cables, to benefit himself. So he may have some chance of not being killed. But I think that's understandable, not right, but understandable. So I wish him all the best.
And like Josh said earlier, he did introduce this idea of the encrypted, anonymous Dropbox. Other journalists are using this now. That's an innovation. At the same time, compared to, say, Ross Ulbricht, Julian likely has a cache of Bitcoin. WikiLeaks was a well-funded organization thanks to Bitcoin. He is collecting more money for what's no doubt going to be a very expensive legal defense, but at least presumably he's in a position to defend himself, at least for a while. Moving on to the exit question, which is going to be very difficult, I'm told. Snowden, Albright, Assange, kiss, marry, and kill. Dan, Eve, I think it works best by process of elimination. So just start by who you would kill. Then you have to decide who you would kiss and who you'd marry. Go ahead, Dan. You're muted still.
Okay, so I'd kill Assange because I think that he's going to be killed anyway, or possibly, which is extremely bad. And then I'd marry Albright, and then I'd kiss Snowden.
All right, Josh Valtoro, same question.
Let's pash all of them. Just go at it.
Oh, it's an orgy.
Very nice, very nice.
Theo Goodman.
Yeah, break all rules. Kiss all.
Oh, the same. I'm on pretty much with Dan here. I think I'd kill Assange, I'd marry Albright, and I'd kiss Snowden. He's quite a sweet gentleman. Did some nice escape work there. Ben, your choice?
I don't. I obviously admire Snowden, but the dude kind of rubs me the wrong way for some weird reason. I don't know why. He's a great guy, whatever. So I'd have to, if I have to make this choice, then I'd get rid of him. And then I'm stuck with Ulbricht and Assange. So which one do I want to marry? I think I'd probably marry Assange. And then, just kiss Ulbricht behind the bike sheds.
There we go. Some romance for Assange. And again, this is a difficult question because you have to choose. And it's that devil's advocates, that Sophie's choice, right? But we're going to move on to issue 2. Let the audience play the game on their own. Remember, you can play the home game. Issue 2. I am Hodlonaut. Hodlonaut, an anonymous Twitter account responsible for the Lightning Torch movement, has disappeared after a $5,000 bounty put on his head by Craig S. Wright, who claims to be Satoshi Nakamoto. Wright claims that Hodlonaut was harassing him, calling Wright a very sad and pathetic scammer, clearly mentally ill. The Hodlonaut account also allegedly popularized the hashtag Craig Wright is a fraud and accused Wright of attempting to fraudulently prove that he is Satoshi. Wright has also threatened to sue Hodlonaut in court for defamation once the doxing is complete. The CoinGeek article reads like a full character assassination, assisting the doxers by providing all known details on Hodlonaut and claiming that anyone attending the Baltic Honey Badger conference in Riga looking to collect the reward should keep an eye out for individuals who seem unnaturally focused on keeping their sleeves rolled down to hide his telltale tattoos. The Bitcoin Twitter community has responded by changing their profile names and images to Hodlonaut and creating images, memes, and artwork. Josh Gagala, what is this fighting all about? When will it end, and who will win?
I think the more people that say I am Satoshi and I am Hodlonaut, the better. Screw it. We really just all this cult of personality crap does my head in. Look, there are some good arguments for Craig being there in the really early days and working with. There's definitely stuff there, but man, there's just so many weird things in this story that I just choose to just think, oh, whatever. And if he does turn out to be Satoshi, it won't put me off of Bitcoin because Bitcoin is an idea. It's got nothing to do with the person behind it.
Theo Goodman.
Wah. Someone's making fun of me on Twitter. Wah. Gonna go to the cops now. I mean, come on. Deal with couldn't you deal with it a little better? Couldn't you? I mean, you're supposed to be some big tough dude. Come on. Give me a break. You're gonna get your lawyer team out because some guy on Twitter is bugging you, and I mean, you then learn how to deal with trolls. I mean, come on, maybe hire a training how to deal with trolls, FOMO, and FUD on Twitter 101. Probably be a lot cheaper than some kind of British lawyers, but hey, it's cool maybe to flaunt British lawyers and all this kind of thing. I mean, it's a shame to see people run to the cops to try to dox someone because they're talking shit on Twitter. I mean, give me a break. It does, defamation. I don't know, whatever. I mean, UK law, fine. Maybe you find something in the UK law. It's pretty, as I understand it, it's kind of easy to get it done in UK law. I don't think it's going to fly at all in the United States with the way the freedom of speech works. That's just stupid. If anyone wants to buy some fake arm tattoos, then hit me up on Twitter DM and I'll sell you to them limited edition.
Ben Hannibus.
Well, so Craig Wright is a fraud. That's kind of been proven by the very fact that he claimed to be Satoshi and then couldn't prove that he was Satoshi, and he misled, the BBC, and then broadcast out to the world that he was in fact Satoshi. But then his evidence, which he gave, was very quickly picked apart on Reddit, and then he couldn't provide further evidence, so he's a fraud. And there's a very easy way for him to prove that he's not a fraud, and until he does that, he's a fraud. I live in Britain, and if Craig wants to come at me, then he's very welcome. What I don't like on Twitter and sort of within Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and stuff is that there is a culture of kind of bullying. But when you have someone like Craig Wright, who he's constantly trying to get people's attention, and he's constantly like doing these big dramatic, making these big dramatic claims, then it's very hard for the community not to react. And I like the sort of I am Spartacus, everyone changing their Twitter handles to Hodlonaut and the little pictures and stuff. I did like that. I did think that the timing was a little bit wrong. So like at the same time, our man Julian, he's being dragged off by the police, and that's a really big story, which very much impacts Bitcoin. Hodlonaut choose to leave the platform, so he wasn't banned from the platform or anything. So I think I would have preferred it if people changed their Twitter handles to Free Julian or something. I don't know. So it's sad. It's a shame, but I think this play anonymity people think they can have on Twitter. If you're using Twitter and if you have a big Twitter following or your personality, then you have no anonymity. You can be found. And similarly on any other, if you're going to conferences, you're trying to remain anonymous, or if you're doing YouTube videos or whatever, you can't. If you want to be anonymous, just don't engage in social media. It's stupid. It's pointless. So yeah, I mean, it's just Craig Wright doing what Craig Wright does. And we always have to remember as well that CoinGeek is Calvin Ayre's publication, and he's obviously Craig Wright's buddy. So you're not anonymous on Twitter, no matter what picture you put on there. If you don't use your real identity, and we should try and bully less. And Julian Assange is a bigger topic, more important topic, which we should be focusing on.
See, I'm also torn on this one. I like Hodlonaut. I like the Lightning Torch. I think he's a good guy on Twitter. But at the same time, he was acting very trolly to Craig Wright. It's one thing now everyone can say, oh, learn to code, which sounds innocuous, but really you mean F you. So it's a nice way of saying F you. So there's a lot of the F yous going around, and it's a little trolly, and he's doing it anonymously. So Wright puts out this effort to dox him. The response I would like to see is him to just dox himself and to claim the $5,000 reward himself, because as we know, doxing generally works in the end. Somebody's going to go out there and claim that 5,000. Why not you, Hodlonaut? Just take the money. Then he could celebrate himself as being a person. Instead, this kind of hiding from Twitter, trying to remain anonymous, everyone changing their names for some reason. I'm not sure what the victory conditions are. Are the victory conditions he comes back to Twitter and talks more, which would lead to him likely getting doxxed and into the defamation case? Is the victory conditions that Craig Wright is somehow foiled because everyone's changed their names? Someone was joking on Twitter and they said, imagine if you came into Bitcoin right now and you were looking for information, but all you found was these Hodlonaut accounts. I don't think it's a very good look. I'm not sure it's a very hugely important issue. I'm not sure what you seek to gain or lose. It's interesting to see places like Binance starting to waver on listing Bitcoin SV, but remember, they're just pandering to you. They didn't care about not listing it in the first place when it was a nonsense project. They care now because you guys care a little bit. It's just a lot of pandering. We've seen certain magazines that used to be into Bitcoin now just being pandering into Bitcoin. I'm just not sure I'm not sure the goals of the movement. I'm not sure what it's going to accomplish. But I do think that the CoinGeek article was terrible, that it was a hit piece, that it was actually inspiring doxing, which is a very dangerous thing, which of course, if Hodlonaut came back, I think he'd have a defamation case against CoinGeek magazine if he's willing to stand up with his real name and be himself on the internet, which, yes, didn't used to be the thing in the past, but it's the thing now. And there's lots of ways to express yourself and to use your real name as a source of power and not to use this anonymity as a source of weakness. I just don't see him being very strong. And I'm probably an outlier on this, and I'm okay to be that. You can have your own opinions. You can change your handles and such. Crypto Raptor.
Leading in nicely. Yeah, I did change mine. But the reason why I did it was because I see it as it's like a symbol, isn't it? It's like waving a flag saying that you're on someone's side. And Craig is someone that's a bully. I mean, you know, like, do you want someone claiming that they're Satoshi who says shit like, I've got more money than your country? I mean, that's just literally messed up. That needs to be out of the, you know, the sphere of crypto, because it's not good for anyone. It's not good for Bitcoin, you know, ABCD, you know, 1, 2, 3. It's not good for any of it, and so all it does is cause confusion. And so yeah, I think it's pretty poor that he's gone after him and did this doxing thing. I think you've got a right to anonymity. If you want to be like, if you don't want to be anonymous, you should be able to remain anonymous. And the fact is that Craig is someone that's completely, you know, doing as much as he can to be in the limelight and saying all sorts of weird ass shit, and then like expecting people not to like pick him up on it. So, you know, people do sometimes hide behind you know, shields of stuff. Some, like, you know, just mission around freaking conferences waving Bitcoin flags, you know what I'm saying, after being put to bed. But no, I have been told off for that by my girlfriend. The annoying part is that she was like, oh, the problem is that everyone seems to be okay with it on Twitter. And I was like, yeah, that's not, it's not encouraging me not to drink. But no, all part of the fun. And yeah, I hope that everyone just gets on, you know, fine, and no more forks and no more craziness, and we will work things out.
Josh, do you have more on this, or do you want to go to the exit question?
Yeah, I mean, it's there is a lot of so much fraud around that character, so it's just crazy. But yeah, like it's just the whole thing's a distraction.
I'm launching a defamation suit against everyone here.
Good. File it in Germany. I'm sure they'll get me there. Exit question. What is more important, the doxing of an anonymous Twitter account, Hodlonaut, or the arrest of early Bitcoin supporter Julian Assange? Josh Skagala.
Oh, of course, Julian Assange. I mean, come on.
Theo Goodman.
Assange.
Ben Hannibus.
Assange.
And Dan Eve. He's muted.
Oh yeah, hello. Oh, there. Is that it? There you go. I think Assange, and also what we haven't mentioned is the fact that back in the day when Bitcoin was like being first, you know, it was first, what was it, 2011, 2012, and someone suggested that WikiLeaks accept Bitcoin, and Satoshi actually said, no, it's too early, don't accept Bitcoin. And they did, and they're absolutely laughing when PayPal and that cut them off all their funds, and they were like, "Whoa, suckers!" We're like thousands of % up. So all part of the fun.
But you never know how much of that had to be traded in for servers back in the day as well.
That's true. Yeah.
We can't just assume stuff. So
That's true.
And of course, Craig Wright would remember that because he's Satoshi. So he must have written the email to Assange. So again, a connection to our first story as well. We're joined by Max Hillebrand. Max, do you want to give your opinion on the Hodlonaut drama? Everyone seems to think Assange is more important. I'm with them. And it's, I don't know, no one likes what Wright did, but I don't exactly get what they're getting by supporting with changing names. But go ahead, Max. You're muted. Uh-oh. Got to get that microphone to work with the Linux. Have you tried turning it off and on again?
I have, and now it's back on.
It's very quiet, but go ahead, yeah.
Damn power plug. Okay, turn it a bit up. Yes, absolutely. Both. No, it's too loud. Both are bad events, but of course Craig Wright is a scam. He's a fraud, and Hodlonaut, we are all Hodlonaut. Of course we are. We have increased the anonymity set, so that sucker can sue all of us. That but of course that is nothing compared to the human tragedy that is going on with Julian Assange. Absolutely, what is going on here is a travesty, and it is it is really eye-opening because Julian Assange is a journalist first and foremost, and he is speaking the truth, and he backs it up with solid evidence, as any sound journalist does. And then seeing how a tyrannous state like the US, or any other state for that matter, treats such a hero of a human being is absolutely horrendous. Being locked up in that asylum hotel, yeah, for sure, for so many years, and now being dragged out, literally, is insane. Being denied access to doctors and friends is a tragedy. It is torture, very much so. And of course, yes, my heart goes out to him. He will make this through. Absolutely, he is a strong man. But yes, it's a tragedy, and I think it's really a wake-up call for us all. And this is why we're fighting with Bitcoin. This is exactly it, because a expansive state to such an extent is tyrannical to its core. And Bitcoin is a cry out to make sure that this is that this is being kept in check. And Bitcoin is the bailout. I will believe so. So this very much is just me strengthening my beliefs in Bitcoin, and why I support this, and why I dedicate so much time into making this a reality. Because what is going on is not right, and we will stand up, and we are doing it. Yes, free Assange.
And I agree with everyone in the chat who says Assange is looking pretty bad from that Ecuadorian embassy. Perhaps he'll get better food in prison. However, like Theo said, if it ends in a trip to the death chamber, it's not a very good time in prison. Moving on, did you know the World Crypto Network has its own audio podcast? And you can subscribe on Apple, iTunes, and many other places where podcasts are served. Check out the audio version of this and all our other shows on the World Crypto Network audio podcast. Be sure to subscribe and give us a good rating and that kind of thing. Moving on to issue 3, shaking the system. International Monetary Fund Director Christine Lagarde said Wednesday that disruptors like cryptocurrencies and digital assets are shaking the system, warning that these new innovations need to be governed by regulation to maintain stability and trust in the legacy system. Max Hillebrand, is IMF Director Lagarde correct? Can innovation be tempered by regulation to maintain the legacy system? Or is this all just nonsense, as the legacy system has failed to innovate and has no choice but to be ravaged, savaged, and destroyed by the stronger, better, faster competitors who will never, ever stop?
It's both. It really is. Huge regulation, of course, stifles innovation. Absolutely. That's what it does. Per definition, it holds back. It ties you back to the ground, giving you strict rules and punishing you if you don't uphold what the authority says. For sure, this is nothing for innovation. Absolutely. And you see that in the fintech world. It's so funny. They're all bowing down to regulation, and thus they're just all boring. And it's so much shit. If you think cryptocurrencies are bad, go to a fintech event. government. Oh, that's so much worse. But then the question is, what will we do about it? Oh, the honey badger doesn't give a shit, and we will do whatever we want as long as it's peaceful. And you cannot stop Bitcoin, and it will not be stopped. And we will continue on our path of reckless innovation, because why not? We are freeing humanity here, and recklessness is all involved here. So yes, for Bitcoin innovation, and no for fintechs, unfortunately.
As I've always said, fintech is a good industry for sharks. A good industry for sharks. Theo Goodman.
What was her quote again? Exactly.
She says that new assets like cryptocurrencies are shaking the system.
Maybe we can sue her for defamation somehow. We should get a.
So we
everyone
know
here,
her
we
name.
contact,
we know her name. We're ready to.
Yeah, we know her
her
name, and we know the lawyers to contact now, because we have the letterhead from some of the letters that have been sent out. So we need to. Everyone shaking too much. It's clearly defamation of character. It's not only on Twitter. It's all over the internet. You should feel hurt, and I think we got something going on here. I'm going to agree pretty much with Max. I just think it's a little bit more complicated than that. It's an ongoing competition. The state organs are not stupid. And what's going to happen? What's already happening is they're taking little bits of what we like, and they're going to offer it in their own offering that gives you a similar feeling. Some characteristics, either faster or maybe even a little bit more freedom, but not really, kind of like how some of the stable coins, oh, you have like an account, but we can freeze it, but just as, it's a different way of freezing than normal. There's going to be different things. And actually there's some really scary things. If you think about what if they got rid of cash and innovated, right, to, something like stable coin-esque type of things, then that would be really easy to prevent bank runs, because you could, maybe freeze some addresses. You could kind of lock down the system a lot easier, and by preventing bank runs, then you would be a little bit easier to kind of hold interest rate at negative rates, because you would have less risk of people panicking. So there's a lot of weird innovations that are kind of twisted, that some of the innovations might have started in the crypto world, but it's just a tool, and tools can be used for good and bad. Keep that in mind, just like a hammer. I mean, you can hit a nail or you can hit someone in the head. So it's an ongoing competition. We have to remain vigilant.
I like how the first two issues have made Theo very litigious today. Every hammer is a nail. Every defamation is a solution. Ben Hannibus.
Like Mike said, that's on the other topic. That's why we're here. We're here to shake the current system. And I agree with her that we do need more regulation, but we need the kind of decentralized decision-making through consensus regulation, not the top-down, the elite controlling the money regulation. We don't like that regulation. To think that Bitcoin isn't regulated is ridiculous. It's heavily regulated. That's why it's hard to change it and do certain things to it. It's just they don't have control, which obviously they find very difficult. But they will change, and I imagine that Bitcoin will just encourage them to be a bit more responsible and to manage money a little bit better, and that's good too, because we end up with a better form of money. But yeah, no, that's why we're here. We're here to make money better, So yeah, they should be worried, because it's a big headache for them, and they're going to lose some of their power. So it's a good thing.
Dan Eve.
It's shaking the financial system, because the financial system is on shaky ground and built with shaky foundations, with shaky arches and stuff. And and I think that's what's actually clear, is that they're starting to get scared. They're seeing the impact, and I think it's kind of a good thing that crypto does creep up on these institutions of power, because they are not going to lose control lightly, and they're not going to give up without a fight. So whether that's trying to slam down as much regulation as possible, whether it's clubbing together with more friends and quaffing in the club whilst conspiring to dump on Bitcoin or do some nefarious posh things that they do. and stuff. No, but all conspiracy aside, I think that it's not in anyone's interest in the existing financial world, like banks and stuff, to let Bitcoin or something else, another cryptocurrency, prevail. It's in their best interest to kind of try and take the technology and probably leverage it because it's open source, and then maybe make it closed source again, and then maybe make a private blockchain and go down that funny route and whatever they want to do. But the main thing is that Bitcoin is never going to die. And that's it. Never going to die. Never going to die.
Josh Kagala.
Shaking the system, eh? Shaking the system. I mean, you think? Like, well, what kind of an obvious statement is that? Of course, that's what millions of people are betting on, that it's going to shake the system. It's not here to, cuddle with doggies. It's here to shake the system. And it is, and it will not stop. You can't stop innovation. And, you guys are right. Like, they will make things that look like it, but they can't be it. And even if it is, what we're doing is creating competition, and competition keeps the bastards honest, as they say in Australia. And that's really what is needed, is more competition for the kingpin in all free markets, and that is the money, the currency that is used in those markets, and to have it based on rare numbers that are capped instead of debt that's printed out of nowhere with interest that doesn't exist, is really the fight here. So once people start getting used to digital currency, and then their weird fiat tethered currencies collapse because it's just pegged to the crappy system, then they'll realize that rare numbers are something that they didn't learn at school will hit them home, and they'll say, yeah, I'll accept Bitcoin. And the thing is, whether the government can stop them with regulations and stuff, sure, they can stop bricks and mortar, they can do things like that. But the government has also tried to stop the drug trade for many years. It just doesn't stop. If people find something useful, they will use it. And especially if bricks and mortar are too hard to accept Bitcoin, then paying freelancers and all the entire online economy will be there. When you go to England, you use pounds. When you go to Germany, you use euros. When you go to Australia, you use Australian dollars. When you use it online, you use Bitcoin when you live online. And there's many, many people that spend most of their lives online.
A fiery defense by Josh Kagala. Moving on to the exit question. The banking system has now acknowledged that cryptocurrencies are a threat. How much longer before they abandon the Death Star and give in to the power of the Force? When will a bank accept crypto? 6 months, 1 year, or never? Max Hillebrand.
2 weeks, of course.
2 weeks, some kind of geographical oddity? Theo Goodman.
What do you mean accept crypto? I mean, they won't give up, but I mean, who would not accept a hard asset? They're not stupid. They'll probably be happy to accept hard crypto and give you, shit fiat in exchange. That's a good deal.
They're not stupid, but they do work in a bank. Ben Hannibus.
I think it depends on, sorry, I'm going to ramble on a little bit here, but I think non-proprietary software will always be proprietary software, decentralized proprietary software. And this version of money is just the same. So if say for all people's Windows computers suddenly broke tomorrow and they wouldn't work, then there'd be a huge shift of people moving on to something like Linux. But if it carries on working, but just carries on snooping on you and taking advantage of you and all this sort of stuff, then and it's you can't sort of alter it and change it and use it how you want to use it because there's restrictions, then it's going to carry on staggering on, and then Linux is going to creep more and more in. And it's the same with money. It's the same with money. So when the banks choose to accept it will depend upon the sort of sociological environment in which we're in, and whether we have a horrible crisis or not, really.
The system bends but doesn't break. But then again, the rebels did blow up the Death Star. Dan Eve.
What was the question again? Oh, when will they? Okay, right. So I think they will never give up. And the reason is because printing money's got so much power. I mean, like, I'll ask you the question, Tom. If you had the ability to print money, would you ever want to stop printing money?
I haven't even stopped doing this show. I'm printing money right now.
Well, sadly, I think they're not going to let it go easy, and it's going to be a fight, and there's going to be a lot of FUD and a lot of shit slinging. But I think we're going to get there eventually, and Bitcoin will win.
Josh Gagala.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just the ability to print money; it's the enforcement of the monopoly, which is what they really want, and that's what's gone. But yeah, what was the exit question? Sorry.
When will banks accept crypto?
Oh, right. Well, they already do. Bitcoin.de, the German site, has bought a bank, a failing bank, so it has a banking license. There's another bank here in Germany, which Bitwala are now partnering up with. And these banking licenses, they're just up for grabs every so often, and people will get them. And eventually, it's really the central banks. They're the ones that we're talking about here. It's a little bricks and mortar banks. They're just businesses, really. It's the central banks, the issuance of currency that use the mum and dad, the local banks to issue mortgages, and that's pretty much how money gets distributed, but through credit cards and mortgages and things. But yeah, it's only a matter of time.
It's a good example by Josh, although it's not fair if you buy the bank. However, if you buy all the banks, then it would be okay. Moving on to issue 4, Coinbase, the credit card. Coinbase is launching a new credit card that allows you to pretend to spend cryptocurrencies everywhere. The card, which is part of Coinbase's traditional plan to trick their customers into creating more transactions so that Coinbase can collect more transaction fees, continues their tradition of copying failed projects by other companies in the past, thinking that they can do it better because of their esteemed name and new offerings of the ability to spend from dozens of random altcoins chosen from a phone book. Theo Goodman, is Coinbase headed in the right directions? Are users really looking to purchase goods with volatile assets such as Bitcoin and other altcoins, creating a taxable transaction record and paying fees each time they use their card, forever trusting the centralized exchange Coinbase to hold their funds and their data? Is that the true meaning of the Bitcoin revolution?
Oh, definitely. I want to know which exchange is sponsoring this episode of the Bitcoin group that's not Coinbase? None?
No one.
Oh man, because that was a really good hit. That was a really good hit piece introduction. It was like that was kind of like, that was almost on the level of the Vitalik rap. Speaking of shitcoins, but that was on that you were going in that direction. I'm sorry, I can't get over the other developments that happened recently with Coinbase and them hiring what was that name? Nitruno, whatever, all these guys. Delete
Neutrino
Coinbase. Just delete this. Delete
Coinbase.
Just delete this stuff. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Oh, but they sent me a credit card. I can't delete it. I need scissors. Ben Hannibus.
Yeah, it's just a gimmick. We've had cards before and they failed miserably. I've had cards. I think there were some useful cards where if you needed to get sudden access to cash, and it was quite nice to have a card which back in the day you could have kind of private cards which you could fund with Bitcoin, but now you can't have that. So and with Coinbase, obviously they've got all your coins anyway, so it's a gimmick. It's silly, whatever. It may be useful for someone who wants to give some pocket money to their kids or something. I don't know, but yeah, their Coinbase are pretty useless anyway. So yeah. Just
once again, it's follow the leader, and the reason the leader was there is they were letting people anonymously spend their cryptocurrencies. You missed the word anonymous, Coinbase. When you put the KYC in there, basically you're just creating a big honeypot. Everybody gets stuck in there. They do a bunch of spends, at least in the US. Each one of those spends is supposed to be a taxable transaction where you have to track the in and the out and the cost and the gains, all of this. Is Coinbase going to help you do that? Only a little bit. Are they going to take responsibility for what you've just done? No. Again, it's per transaction. It's transactional. Once again, it's the old Coinbase model. They need you to spend more. If you buy Bitcoins, put them in a hardware offline wallet. It makes no money for Coinbase. You need to move your money around. Their business exists on transaction fees, etc., etc. Dan Eve.
I'm gonna not right, like just so that you don't kill me. It's not that I like Coinbase or anything, but anything that gives crypto utility.
The dogs object. Instant objection from the animal kingdom. Yes.
Yeah. They don't like Coinbase. They don't like, but anything where that gives crypto utilities, actually, I think is a cool thing, you know. And although at the moment everything's being done in these kind of shaky foundation ways, where you've got, you know, where Bitcoin is P2P, but at the moment, say for TripKey, what we've got to do is we've got to put a layer over the top, and we do have to settle in fiat, but we're still, you know, giving accessibility by that. And this card can do the same thing. And although it's Coinbase, it allows people to take the Bitcoin that they've hodled and then to be able to spend it without having to go and liquidate. And if they are clever, they can just have one spending account, which all the Bitcoin goes, you know, there to account for it, you know, so that they can be legit and do all their taxes and everything. And there's also a lot of API software nowadays that kind of hooks into, you know, exchanges and will tell you. So although, you know, it's from Coinbase, I kind of like it because it's giving utility and it's showing people that it can be used. And it also means if someone goes, you can't use Bitcoin anywhere, then you can go, well, you can, because it's using this card, and then it shuts them up until the next thing.
Josh Gagala.
Well, you know, I often wonder how much Brian Armstrong is actually being strong-armed. If it's Brian strong-armed, because here we are as the crypto scene really bashing Coinbase, but they're just playing the friendly guy to the mafia. They're playing in the US, which have intense sort of laws and regulations and power, more power games. Like they're obsessed with power in Washington, and so. I think they're just trying to survive in that sort of climate and being strong-armed. So, you know, whether you want to leave Coinbase for that or stay with them or whatever, it's your choice. But there's definitely a lot of choice. So we're talking about a global system here. We're talking about a global system, system that's not pegged to a country. It's borderless. So you do have choice as a consumer. And but yeah, I definitely think we can't forget that it might be Brian Strongarm.
Max Hillebrand.
Why the hell is Coinbase doing so much nonsense that is not new? Shitcoins and credit cards, come on, that is boring. And it's so wrong on many levels because credit cards are shit. If you have to use fiat, which by the way, you're being forced to, so why the hell are you still doing that? Why are you not using cash, which is at least untraceable and at least preserving of your privacy and censorship resistant? And it's still being inflated out of your like bare hands, but still, it's at least more usable than a credit card. Come on, be smarter than that. And why is Coinbase not working on something like Lightning Network? I mean, seriously, it's now over 1 year ago. I bought my first potatoes on Lightning Network mainnet at a farmer's house. I mean, this is possible today, and we can work on Lightning Network integrations, especially with beautiful interfaces like Zap and the Zap point of sale system or BTC Pay Server. I mean, that is the interesting things. You yourself being the Visa, the credit card, the transaction manager by running your own full nodle? I mean, come on. This is what we should work on. And not fucking credit cards. Are you serious? Come on, grow up.
Exit question. Coinbase has stolen many other business models in the past, starting with accepting payments a la BitPay, having a personal vault a la Zappo, having more than 100 altcoins just like Cryptsy, and now copying Shift Card and the other credit cards. Who business will Coinbase steal next? Where will they expand to? Just choose an existing business and we're good to go.
They'll probably expand to Beanie Babies.
Coinbase Beanie Babies, eBay's good opportunity, a very open market. Ben Hannibus.
We haven't seen the Coinbase original series yet, so I wouldn't mind that.
Netflix, very takeable. Dan Eve.
I think that they'll go into the commodities markets with 1 ton of urea, which is a fertilizer, and they'll resurrect URO, the old piss coin from 2014.
Josh Gagala.
I think they'll do fully collateralized loans, so you can loan and get a loan in fiat and collateralize that, and then if the price drops, then they'll pull a margin call on you, and if the price goes up, you get to keep.
Ah, yes, of course, the old BTC Jam model. Max Hillebrand.
Yeah, Josh, you're absolutely right. But I would definitely say commodity markets. That's the future. Not just selling virtual shit coins, but actually selling shit. You can have different ones. Human shit, elephant shit, cow shit for the Bitcoin carnivores. There's a bunch of shit you can sell. This is a huge opportunity. The potential market is infinite because we'll never stop
Gluten-free
shitting.
shit.
Actually, one of the very earliest Bitcoin accepting businesses was where you could send anonymously shit onto someone's doorstep. It was years and years ago.
Oh, that's amazing.
Coinbase isn't going to get into that business. We'd all know it would
Well,
go to Brian Armstrong.
Would
Right?
would we call, if you send someone shit to the door, do we call that defamation of character, maybe? Or
Oh, it's definitely something happening there.
Defecation.
Defecation of character.
Defecation of character.
Defamation.
Defamation.
Very close, Theo. No, the correct answer is gift cards. There's no more questionable business in this world than reselling gift card codes. Purse has done it. Paxful has done it. Many other websites have done it. And that means the idea is available for Coinbase, and they're incredible engineers to steal. They just surf the web looking for new ideas to steal, and then they just copycat that. Very good exit question, everyone improvising. And now we're going to move on to predictions or a story of the week. Dan, Eve, prediction or story of the week.
Story of the week is that I thought I was going to have to skip then, but today I wrote my first article on Medium, and I'll put it in the link, and if you guys want
Is
to
it
check
a
it out.
rapping article?
I'm pretty sure
rapping article.
Hodlonaut. I saw that on Twitter, and I'm pretty sure Hodlonaut wrote that article. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice
I've got
one,
the.
Dan, but yeah.
I know. There is a branding issue, but it's my first kind of like little write up. So I thought, if you can check it out. But there was something else that was cool. Oh, that was okay. I am writing another. I'm writing another song based on the Hodlonaut episode, and it's well, I know I'm not going to say what it is yet, just in case someone beats me to it, because I put things off. But it's going to be pretty cool, hopefully. And I'm going to be collaborating, or need to collaborate with someone with a video for it. So I'll if you can get in touch with me, if you make like animated videos and you want to collaborate on something, and we can share, that'd be awesome. But thank you very much. And I also predict that we'll be staying on a boat tomorrow night. As if things didn't get more weird and magical after delivering a satellite to Adam back. We're now staying on a boat in Bath.
We're boat people tomorrow.
We're boat people.
I can only assume all the words will be Hodlonaut, like hodl, 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 Hodlonaut. Joshua Skagala.
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Prediction or a story of the week? What's going on with Josh this week?
Oh, yeah. The prediction is that we're heading sideways for a long time with crypto, and it's going to be sideways with a large margin of volatile craziness. I hope that more people will not be sick of the entire Julian Assange saga and really rile up. I hope that the empathy hasn't kicked. I hope people's empathy have kicked in, but their apathy hasn't yet. And good luck to him.
More empathy, less apathy. That's a good note. Max Hillebrand.
Well, story of the past week. I had to kill my Raspberry Pi Note. I had to kill it. And it's been going strong since December 4th, 2017, with the first Lightning channel. It's gone. It's dead. But I predict that I will also kill my Nodl. Why? Because there are many awesome upgrades coming, and I want to reset my full node. Because full Tor support for both inbound and outbound. That is awesome. I will only open private channels, no longer publicly announce my channels that I open. Also, only manage it with Electrum personal server, and make sure that I can have full control over my private keys with the Cold Card Mark II coming with real clicky buttons. They're actually shipped. So awesome stuff happening on the tech side of Bitcoin. That's going to be really, really interesting. So I'm going to kill 2 nodes in 1 week. That is horrible. But also shout out to the Julian Assange episode of the Block Digest that they just uploaded yesterday. Version 117.5. Laugh at the face of corruption. And that is what we have to do. These are pieces of shit. And what they're doing to this free sovereign individual is a tragedy. But you know what? We are so much better than them. And we are proving it every second that we work on Bitcoin. We will laugh at that in the future and say, look at that. They tried everything. They were so low. And they had to use the most dire of means, these bastards. But we still overcame them because they are pieces of shit. And we are heroes of liberty.
Max wants full control over his full node. Theo Goodman.
The defamation and defecation on Twitter will continue and reach new highs. Free Assange.
Ben Hannibus.
All the Bitcoiners will realize that Julian Assange is, one of our old school cypherpunk brethren, and they'll support him wholly. And then also I will finally start working on some of the amazing technology I've got behind me and make some cool tutorials and then release them, I promise. I finally will finish those tutorials off.
Can you do how to make a satellite? Because I want to set one up.
Yeah, I want to do how to make a satellite, but I've worked on it. One of the things I'm working on is a satellite to then communicate out to a mesh network, and that's really what I want to do. But it requires quite a lot of work. And I've just been spending too much time partying, so I need to stop doing that and do more work.
Yeah. Please do, because I'd like to see it. So no messing about, please.
And we've been working on building a full over here. We've been building little full lightning nodes and all the kind of stuff. We've got all the tutorials happening here in Wales.
Buy Bitcoin stamps.
Yeah, we got lots of those. Great for faces too. Story of the week. Shout out to everybody I'm visiting here in England. I'm having a great time in Wales. We're going to go to the Bristol meetup, I think, next week. Shout out to the other meetup we went. I think that was the Cardiff meetup in Wales. And then we've just been having a great time in England. Had a great time at CoinFest. Went to Understanding Bitcoin just very briefly there. Came right back. And just a shout out to everyone who's been donating to my Bitcoin address. I'm going to show it right now. I got a cool new wallet from Blockstream Green. And so far, we had one donation from one person, but it was for 0.01. So it's a very nice donation. You don't have to donate that much. You could donate like $5, $10, $20. It's just great to support the tour. And we filmed about 20 interviews or so.
Oh, yeah, cracking.
In Malta and in Manchester. And we're going to be editing those and updating them. And they're going to be out kind of once a week for the next 20 weeks or something like that. So if you like the interviews, if you like the pictures on Twitter, and if you like me traveling, which remember the Mad Tour, when I'm traveling, the price of Bitcoin goes up. So if you like that, please donate to the Bitcoin address on your screen right now. We've got a 3 and I don't know, it's Segwit. Maybe it's not Beck32 yet. But I don't know. I got Blockstream Green, supposed to be the best address. And yeah, people in the chat are like, oh, it's Blockstream Explorer. Well, I'll tell you what, I tried it on blockchain.info and the QR code didn't load. So not impressed at all. Blockchain.info. Also, it made me search between Bcash and the real Bitcoin. I don't know what that's about. I could have searched a dozen other blockchains. Seems like nonsense. So blockstream.info, nice little searching.
Just as you talked about, Bitcoin going up as you travel, Bitcoin went up a little. So amazing.
Once again, it's like Elliot and ET.
They got a little semi because he's.
And also, I'm gonna put Tom on the spot. But there's a conference just after where he's the day he's meant to be going back. No, come on.
Not happening. Bought a return flight, using the return flight. Plus, if you don't name your conference out of Bitcoin after Bitcoin, you clearly don't want me to be there. It's called Blockchain Week. Who cares?
It is, but there's some cool stuff
week.
there. There's some cool stuff
Bitcoin.
there.
Hey, I'd also like to say Lightning Network Hack Day is happening again. Voltoro is sponsoring it again. We're very proud to have sponsored them from the first time, and it's happening in June. So go to the Lightning Network Hack Day. I think that's what it is. Yeah, just Google Lightning Hack Day. It's called, and it's at fulmo.org. So you got 49 days to.
And where is it going to be, Josh? Munich?
In Munich, Germany this time. So it's been hopping around. First it was in Berlin, then Munich, then oh no, there was another one in Berlin, I think, and then
They had a New York.
in New York.
One, I think. Yeah,
I think you're wearing the T-shirt, right?
Yeah, I got the T-shirt on there. Yeah, the
Yeah,
New York
New
one.
York
I'll
one.
be helping out in the Munich Lightning Hack Day. I'm going to be helping
Oh,
out
sweet.
with doing House Raspberry Blitz tutorial workshop.
Nice.
So really looking forward to that, and stoked that Christian Rutzel asked me to do it. Feel really proud.
Yeah.
of him.
Yeah, champion.
I also want to show my local meetup because Thomas came to it. Bitcoin Wales. It's a great meetup. Great guys. It's one of the bigger meetups, and it's one of the older, longer running meetups. If you're in Cardiff at all ever, it's on the 18th of April. And it starts at 6:30. If you go to the meet, you just Google Bitcoin Wales meetup, you'll be able to find it. But yeah, totally pop along if you're nearby and join us.
And just a shout out to everybody in the chat. Make sure to give us a thumbs up and a share. That really helps new people find the show. And be sure to subscribe down below. And we'll be back next week with some more tutorials by Ben. We got more tutorials by Max. Extra shows, all kinds of stuff going on at the World Crypto Network. Max also shot a bunch of interviews in Malta. He's going to be uploading those slowly, doing some editing. And just got all kinds of new stuff coming for you. So thanks for the thumbs up and the donations.
Both
And subscribe.
Both
ahead,
the
Max.
videos for understanding Bitcoin, and just today I uploaded the first one for breaking Bitcoin. So we're doing now videos
nice.
before the conference even starts. Wow, the World Crypto Network is crazy. We are going to introduce every single one of the announced speakers and do a couple like 30 to 40-minute interview about all the awesome stuff they have already done about Bitcoin or in Bitcoin and what they will talk about in Bitcoin. So today was the first interview of Belcher, a privacy hero of Bitcoin. But I actually noticed here in the background, do you see that? These are Ethereum logos. Oh my God. Here's and another reckless prediction. I predict that maybe we will reach 1% of this month's donation. Maybe we can make it happen.
Come on, people. Come on. You can do it.
1% is quite a lofty goal. And like Max and Josh are saying, we want to everyone please go to these Bitcoin conferences. We have Breaking Bitcoin in Amsterdam, the Lightning Full Node Day in Munich. There's another Lightning conference called Unchained in Berlin.
Hodl.
And Hodl. And then, of course, a
HTTP.
Blockchain Hotel. No, you forgot
Blockchain
the big
Hotel?
one. Blockchain
Oh, yeah,
Hotel.
30th and 31st of May.
31st.
Yeah.
So please sign up for these if you're looking to hang out with
I'll
some
put-
Bitcoin people
put
that
a
are
link in
really
the thing.
friendly, and all kinds of people that are like want to be your friend and talk about Bitcoin. People you have all kinds of things in common with, like your first computer and video games and all that. If you want to hang out with them, they're going to be at these Bitcoin conferences, which will be there if you support them. If you buy tickets, if you go and you support them, we will have Bitcoin conferences. If you don't, we will not have Bitcoin conferences. So please make your decisions wisely. If you're near Amsterdam or Essen or Munich or Berlin, any of these places coming up in about the next month, we're going to have some real Bitcoin conferences if you guys support them. Or we're going to have some really great last Bitcoin conferences, and we're all going to have a great time, hopefully. And we hope you'll be there. So until next time, bye-bye.
Bye.